morning, everyone, and to people in other time zones, good afternoon. I'm Steve Farrell, the Worldwide Executive Director for Humanities team, and welcome to the Living in Oneness Summit. It's great to be with you. I'm going to be interviewing a very special guest today, Don Jose Ruiz. Like his father, Don Miguel Ruiz, Don Jose is dedicating his life to sharing the ancient Toltec wisdom by translating it into practical, everyday life concepts that promote transformation through truth, love, and common sense. I'll be introducing Don Jose shortly. We're all very excited about today's program. We have about 20,000 registered for today's call. Some cannot listen in live, so we send out a recorded link so these people can listen in later. Thank you so much, everyone, for prioritizing time to be here for this important program. As always, this program is interactive with each of you, our listeners, so we want to invite you to go ahead and put your questions in the question window on Instant Teleseminar. I promise we'll get to at least a few of your questions during the hour. A little about Humanities team as we get started. In Humanities team, we see there is only one present, the divine, and see we are all offspring and expressions of the divine. This means God's love, light, grace, and peace are ours because there is no separation, and we share the same essence. We don't share this as something academic or intellectual. We believe everyone and everything is a beautiful and sacred face of the divine. Since our founding in 2003, we've done our best to live as one with the divine, each other, and our earth home. We don't need to be perfect. It doesn't have to feel heavy. We must only do our best. When we talk about oneness with the divine, of course, this is true for all of life, not just humanity. This has repercussions for how we see ourselves, others, and the earth that is our home. This means everyone and everything is sacred and should be treated as such. It also means we're responsible for the world around us because, in truth, it's part of our authentic self, encompassing the whole of the earth. Perhaps there's nothing more important than this, coming to see ourselves as a cell in the body of the divine, the earth, and stepping into a role where we're caring for the earth and the world that we live in. This is important and urgent work. We are advocating personal development that crosses over into all of our roles, including that of partner, parent, and public service, but also institutional change so that we live as one collectively and create a fulfilling, compassionate, and sustainable world. If you resonate with our work, we invite you to go to humanitiesteam.org website and reach out to us about projects that you might like to become involved in. And again, that's humanitiesteam.org. Please get comfortable as we begin our program. I'm now going to introduce our special guest. Don Jose Ruiz combines new insights and ancient wisdom and is dedicating his life to sharing the ancient Toltec wisdom by translating it into practical, everyday life concepts that promote transformation through truth, love, and common sense. Don Jose collaborated with his father, Don Miguel Ruiz, on a book that offers a fresh perspective on the four agreements and a powerful new agreement for transforming our lives into our personal heaven, the fifth agreement. We'll talk about other projects as well. And let's see if Don Jose Ruiz is here. I know he was dialing in. As you may know, this call was moved 1 hour earlier. Usually these calls start at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is 10 Mountain. We did move the call to 8 a.m. Pacific, 9 Mountain. Don Jose, are you here?
He is not with us at the moment. He's dialing in.
He is dialing in. Okay. Well, everybody go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Get yourself a cup of tea or a glass of water. Get in a comfortable place. I'm looking forward to this program with Don Jose Ruiz. We've done programs with him before over the years, also his father, Don Miguel Ruiz. And, boy, this family really lives it. When we talk about living in oneness, they really do live it. So they talk both from the perspective of what they share inspirationally, but you can also feel into their experiential as well. All righty. So give us a few minutes here.
It could be a technological issue, too, so we'll just be patient here for a second.
Okay. Yeah. That's right. Oneness requires that. You're hearing there Nanette Kennedy, who's the Worldwide Director of Communications for Humanities team. Dee Meyer is also here, the Worldwide marketing coordinator for Humanities team. These are my two angels that they are the ones that help create these programs. They develop the whole process for people registering, and then they run the back end of these calls, bringing in questions and things from listeners. So thank you for your patience. Usually we start right on time. Again, I think we maybe had a little hiccup here because we did move this call to 1 hour earlier to 8 a.m. Pacific time, 9 Mountain time.
Welcome, Don Jose.
Oh, hello.
Don Jose, are you with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
Don Jose, okay. Well, good morning and welcome to the Living in Oneness Summit. It's great to have you with us.
Oh, great to be here with you this morning.
Oh, right, awesome. And I just shared a generous introduction here for you. I shared we're starting this call an hour earlier, so, creating a little hiccup here. But gosh, let's just jump right in because we've all been looking forward to this program with you, Don Jose, and there's a lot of great ground to cover here. Let me begin, Don Jose, by just referencing your when you were growing up, because I know there was a tutelage there by your father and grandmother, and during this time frame of tutelage, one of the things you share is that you came to what you called a silent knowledge about the world without any story. And so I know that was a really powerful time. Can you just talk about that a little bit? What was that you felt into?
Yes, well, it was more about being present, especially the presence of life, because when I was little, my grandmother used to say, that we can control the weather. And I said, what do you mean, grandmother? Well, we control the weather, not the outside weather, but the inner weather, and that is our emotions. So when you know that there's no story at all, then you begin witnessing your body, feeling emotions, you can see from that point on, you can create stories. And sometimes you believe your story so much that you lose the center, but from this place on is where we have the silent knowledge where everything is possible.
Yes, amen. And I do get that. I, use a little different language, but I think it's the same thing of just, of course, we can all feel into the collective society as we know it, the media and how it announces things. But in my, through these spiritual practices that are what I live in, I feel into something completely different. What you're calling, I think, this silent knowledge, which is just the world as it is, where there is nothing but unity, that everything is connected. Everything is a part of one thing. So there are these two very different realities. You also share of something else really traumatic, Don Jose, that when you were growing up in your 20s, that you lost your eyesight, but then you regained your eyesight partly through your spiritual practice. Can you talk a little bit about that? That must have been horrific.
Yes, it was an intense moment because, here I am with pain in my eyes, and I was watching a movie. I remember I was getting so desperate and, frustrated that I couldn't see the movie clearly, but then the movie was over. And then I go, now what? So I could feel all the surrenderings because I went to see an eye doctor, and the eye doctor said that there was nothing wrong with my eyes. And then when I went to see another doctor, a more specialist, they said that they're trying to save my brain. So when they were trying to save my brain, my thoughts begin, to be completely open and wonder, scared. That I was beyond the point of scare because I was in the surrender mode. That, I have to be completely honest that before this blind side came to my life, I was blind before that because I was always in a hurry, always wanted to see what I wanted to see, and was never in the moment, I was always letting my life be, but when the moment came in where I lost my eyesight and I was with me, there was nowhere to run. It was just to be present. And one beautiful thing about this experience was that in my dreams and in my thinking, I could still see because of memories, and that made me more present in my dreams. So in being more present in my dreams, it made me know that we are instinct, we're the intent. That's what we really are. And knowing this, we can wake up in our dream. That's why sometimes when we dream at night, we wake up in the dream and we're paralyzed. We can't move, we can't speak because we think that we are the body. you know, and that's what stops us. But when we know that we're more than the body, you know, there's no stopping us. You know, our mind is meant to dream away, to create beautiful things, and the presence is what's magical. Because once you open your heart, that presence, you know, begins happening. And this is what I experienced when I lost my eyesight, and especially when I had this dream that I was inside of a cave, and there was inside this cave all these characters of my past, you know, of things that I've suffered, but I know this wasn't real anymore. So I screamed inside this dream, inside this cave. I go, who's in charge of this place? And in that moment, I elevated myself, and when I opened my eyes, I saw a big demon, you know, and he said to me, how dare you take what I feed upon? And I said, you have forgotten, because, you know, all the souls that were ready to enter this cave, you know, that I sent to the sun before entering the cave in my dream, you know, they belong to him, he said. And I said, they don't belong to you. They belong to the sun, as I belong to the sun, as you belong to the sun. In that moment, he started laughing in mockery at me. And I just surrendered when he jumped at me and bite my neck. I just surrendered, you know, I let go. But then when I surrendered and make peace, you know, I opened my eyes, and there was a little kid, a 7-year-old Jose that turned into an 11-year-old Jose, to a 14-year-old Jose. And I was looking myself, and then my reflection of me says, thank you for coming back for us. And I said, what do you mean for us? Because all those souls ready to enter the cave, they were not other people's souls. They were our own soul, one for each day we're going to live in this life, that we're going to imprison inside this cave. Thank you for coming to rescuing us. So in that moment when I woke up, I know my responsibility in my life. I know the meaning of my life, and it was to take care of Jose, because I know what makes Jose happy, and I know what makes Jose suffer. And how do I know this? Is because I am Jose. So from this point on, we can totally wake up with silent knowledge for whatever we feel. Like Abraham Lincoln said, I have only one religion and one religion only. If I do good, I feel good. But if I do bad, I feel bad. So from this point on, we went back to common sense. And by common sense, we make a decision. And this is what the gift of, you know, of losing my sight really gave to me, because it really revealed to me that I was blind before I lost my eyesight. And then when I gained my eyesight back, you know, there's nothing more than gratitude. And this is what life is all about, gratitude to the birthright that it was given to us.
Wow, what a beautiful story. And also just bringing in that you were, you know, as you call it, blind before, that blind in the sense that blind to presence, and more living in just the dream of this world. And then what an amazing process to that you described, where you went through this whole thing, and you, in a sense, you walked through your fears because you just, like you said, surrendered into what was happening that was really scary. And then this new Don Jose was born. Wow. Truly amazing. Let me share with our listeners. We've got a great listening audience here on the phone. Do put your questions in the window or comments for Don Jose Ruiz. We're got another. This is an hour-long program. We'll get to comments and questions that you all put in the window. Don Jose, one of the things, of course, that you did was a while back with your father. You created the sequel to a book he wrote, this very powerful book, The Four Agreements. You co-wrote this book called The Fifth Agreement, and there's a lot of wisdom in this book, and a lot of what you teach, I know, relates to the book. Can you talk about what was the inspiration behind creating a sequel to the Four Agreements, and what is the key, powerful wisdom that you would share that is part of the Fifth Agreement?
Well, the point of creating this sequel was never planned. It was basically when my father was in coma that I went to his closet and I said to him, how can I repay you for everything you've given to me? He said before he went to coma, help me to change the world inside your mind. So then afterwards, when he was in coma, I went to my room, and he gave me a gift when I was a kid, a picture of himself, And I said to him, why you give me this gift? And he was, because when you do something wrong, I don't have to know, but you, by looking at this picture, you will know. So, of course, that picture in time became my consciousness, And every time I look at that picture, I couldn't lie to it. And that became my own. So when I look at that picture, I said, in honor of what you teach me, Father, I'm going to learn this course called Angel Training, that it means messenger training, a course that he tried to teach like 20 years ago. That he said, people weren't ready for this message, that he felt like he was talking to a wall, that he had to create baby steps to reach people. So I said, I want to get this information, and I want to learn it, and I want to share it. So when he was in coma, we began listening to the tapes, And then he came back from coma. I began listening to more, and then I began sharing it by expressing my own experience of my own life. And little by little, my father came back, and he learned how to speak again, learned how to walk again, learned how to be himself again for all of us. And he said to me, "What have you been doing with your life, Jose?" And I said, "I've been sharing angel training, messenger training." And he said, "Oh, I would love to see that, not believing me." And he came to the workshop, and he said, "People are putting attention. What do you do different?" And I said, "Instead, you were teaching this course called Dreaming. It's year 1, year 2, year 3, but in year 2, you have a heart attack, and you couldn't finish this. So what's going to happen if we start something from 1 year to year, and something happened between us, and we cannot finish this course?" So I said, the point that I saw in the angel training was to give the whole architect plan of the Toltec just the way it is. Whoever's going to get it is going to get it, and whoever's not going to get it is not going to get it. But whoever's going to get it is because they want to make a change in their life. And because before he went to coma, he said to me, "Do me a favor, Jose. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. There will be a time when people say mean things to you, but they're really asking for help. Just learn to listen from the heart." So when I was saying when I was overcoming myself in my own negativity, I said, the worst villain in my life is myself. I'm the tyrant of my life, so I have to learn to be skeptical. So the fifth agreement is to be skeptical, but learn to listen. But it's not to be skeptical in a social position that I'm more intelligent than anybody else. No, it's to be skeptical of our own lies, of our own judgment, to say, if I can't change, it's too difficult, or no one loves me, and I did bad, It's to not believe the negative that we throw to ourselves, to not be the scorpion that sings over his own tail, but the contrary, to not believe our own negativity. And the moment that we do not believe our own negativity is because we're applying the first agreement. We're being impeccable with the words. We're not using the word to hurt ourselves. And when we begin practicing this, something like magic happens, that we begin to think impeccably. Now, thinking impeccably and being skeptical of your own negativity, that gives you power, that gives you authority in your own head, in your own mind, in your own temple, that you say, what? I'm here as a guardian angel, and I'm taking care of heaven. And, our human body is heaven. And not only is our human body heaven, other brothers and sisters' bodies is also heaven. The earth is heaven, and we're here to protect it. That's why when we reach a certain point of enlightenment, of awareness, it's because we have free consciousness. It's not about the theories that we know. It's not about everything that, we learn from a book. No, it's about our experiences, how we overcame our own negativity. Because when we have free consciousness, we are at peace. And it's like the Egyptians say, in order to enter heaven, your heart has to be light as a feather. And, of course, they're talking about their heart, their consciousness. If your heart is light as a feather, then you can enter free consciousness. You don't have to lie about anything. You're at peace all the time. If you don't have to lie about anything, that means you don't have to stress, when to be caught in a lie, and your heart becomes an open book. And this is what the fifth agreement is all about, to really know that we are the messengers. But the question is, what kind of messenger are we? What is the message that we give to ourselves and to the people we say we love with all our heart? This is the important thing about the fifth agreement, to let us open our heart. Let us know that we're following our own path, but in this beautiful moment, we're having respect. That's why when I read the 4 agreements, I said to my father, I know this information. And he goes, of course you know it, because it's integrity talking to integrity. And at one point, I felt like he wrote this book especially for me, and then I speak to other people, and they feel the same thing. It's because our integrity stands up. It's not about religion, it's a way of life. And when we live a way of life to support the love of our life, which is ourselves, we're supporting all the village. We're supporting our people. We're supporting our tribe. Because this is what we are left behind. Because in this world, we know we're going to die one day. We know we're going to leave this physical body, but we can leave a message behind. And it's the way that we live our life. And this is what's going to change the world. Because if we change our own world, just imagine, that's the message that we give behind to all the little ones. Because the little ones, they're learning, but they learn not what we say to them. They learn how we live, just like we learn how our ancestors lived too.
Wow, beautiful. I love that. So the fifth agreement you shared is to do not listen to these messages of fear. Don't believe our own negativity. So that's the be skeptical, and to really just sit in this place of discernment, and to filter out these fear messages, these negativity messages. So as you said, we can think impeccably, and then. As you said, we can be our own guardian angel. We can be a human body that actually is in heaven here on earth. The earth becomes our heaven. Wow, so that's stunning. And I certainly relate to that. I'm guessing our listeners do too, just being skeptical of these messages of fear that are the worldly messages. So filter those out so that we can really journey on this path of integrity, of oneness with the divine and each other. Some of our listeners may not have read the Four Agreements, or they read it a long time ago. Don Jose, can you just real briefly share those Four Agreements that the sequel came behind?
Yes, it's very beautiful, these agreements, because my father shared them to me, but in one point I was not ready to listen to them. But when I listened to them, it really felt the power of them in our life. The first agreement is to always be impeccable with the word, to mean what we say, to not use the word against ourselves or against others, because, the word impeccable in Latin means sin pecado, without sin. And sin is when we do harm to ourselves and to others. So when we get awareness that, that we're impeccable with the word, it's a responsibility, because this is where we create the magic. Because we can create positive magic and we'll create negative magic. Let's say we're not impeccable with the word. We create negative magic by screaming at somebody. It's saying, okay, this person is singing so beautifully, but we are so full of poison, and we go, hey, you sing horrible. And that person might think that they sing horrible, so that's going to be their life, that spell. But this is the beautiful thing about being honoring the impeccable of the word, because you can see with responsibility the heaven that comes out of you. And the second agreement, it is to not take things personal. It's one of the hardest agreements for me personally, because, I used to judge myself all the time. You should take everything personal, that everything that happened outside is because of me, And one day I learned from my father. He said to me, he says, look at you with your personal importance and your big ego. Everything that happens around the world is because of you, And then I began to see how I was addicted to suffering, how I see something and I punish myself and I believe that, and I put myself down. And the more I wanted to put myself down, the more I took things personal, because I didn't want to see, because I wasn't impeccable with my word. And then it led me to the third agreement, is to not make assumptions. And, this is one thing I mastered, because I made assumptions all the time, because I was afraid of communication. I was afraid of communicating how I feel, so I make assumptions how this person was saying or what I was doing, without ever having the integrity or the strength to go and speak to this person. And, I create a whole science fiction. So to not make assumptions really teach me to have communication, open communication, and to not be afraid to speak what we feel. And the fourth agreement is my father's favorite one, because he says without this agreement, none of them will work. And it's to always do your best. And when you're always doing your best, is the thing that you can do. You cannot judge yourself for not doing or taking action because you did your best. And how many times do we punish ourselves for not, getting water out of a rock, doing the impossible, and we punish ourselves. So in the fourth agreement, it really teaches me personally is that if we do not judge ourselves, nobody else can judge us, and the judgments will no longer exist in our mind. And that gives us power to really know that, judgment is just an illusion, that is not real. It feels real, but it's not real, because it exists, before we're born, it exists when we're going to be living, and it exists after we're going to die. So having this awareness, why would we give power to this, and why do we give power to anything else? And that's why I really feel so grateful for these four agreements, because they really changed my life. They really, when I started applying them, they really changed my life. I remember saying to my father, these four agreements, they sound so easy. They're a piece of cake, But then I tried applying them and said, oh, my God, these agreements are difficult. And I went to my father, these agreements are so difficult. And he said, no, they're easy. What is difficult is the agreements that you made in your life. So this is when I really find out that in the Toltec tradition, there is nothing to learn, but it's to unlearn what takes the inspiration out of our life, because what Toltec means, it means artist of the spirit. This is what we're doing all the time. We're creating. So with awareness, we will create a masterpiece of art. And this is what my father did with the four agreements. With these four agreements, he took the superstition out of the Toltec tradition. What do I mean by that? Is because in one point we believed, the heaven is outside of us, but we know the heaven is inside of us all. That we begin to making a change within us also.
Don Jose, you're breaking up a little. I know you're on a cell phone, so you might want to. Most of the time you're coming through loud and clear, but you're breaking up just a little right now.
Oh, sorry. Get the.
There, I can hear you right now. Yeah. So if you might want to just, wherever you are, if you can repeat what you just said. We missed the last part there.
Yes, like in the four agreements really help us to see our own self, our own agreements with our life. That's why in one point I decided to make the fifth agreement with Janet Mills and my father, because it really helped me in my own life to be skeptical of my own negativity. Because once you have awareness, it's like having a coat. And if it's cold, what is it good to be in a closet and not using it? And that's what awareness is for, to use it like a coat. When it's cold, you put it on. And this is what we do with our own awareness, because with our own awareness we can change our world, because we know exactly what's going on inside of us. That's why I said before in the program that I know the meaning of my life, and it's to take care of Jose, because I know what's going on in Jose's world, because I am Jose.
Yeah, beautiful. Love that, Don Jose. And we do have a question here from Michael in Palm Springs. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But I wanted to, you brought in the whole focus on Toltec, and of course the Toltec tradition is what is your father's path, it's your past, your brother's path. Can you just share a little bit about that? What is a Toltec, and how are you part of this auspicious lineage? And also, what is Nagual? These things are all, I know, deeply important to your whole path.
Well, the Toltec means artist of the spirit, and it's a civilization, that's like more than 2,500 years old. That, like my father says, the moment that we speak about the Toltecs, we're not speaking of the Toltecs of the past, we're speaking of the Toltecs of today. Because somebody just asked me like a few years ago, Jose, will you tell me the secret of the Toltecs of 1,000 years ago? And I said, I do not know. He goes, what do you mean? It's because I was born in 1978. I can tell you everything that I read about them, but I don't know if it's truth or not. But what I know is truth, is that we are alive. And then inside of our heart, we have a light. And that light is what guides us, and that light is what we call the Nagual. So the tonal, it is the world that we live in, the material world, but when we have the Nagual energy, this is the moment that we have our integrity. So let's say we have our consciousness, and our consciousness is not letting us do something because it's going against our integrity. Then we're following our Nagual, or some people call it our instinct. And when we wake up the first instinct, we begin to understand the whole tradition of the whole world, because you can see how the Toltec are related to the Buddhists, to some tribes in Africa, some tribes in South America, some tribes in Europe, because we put attention to life, and this is what the Toltec did. They are artists, and they study everything they see. They study the stars, they study the sea. That's why they see there's God in everything, and especially in us. And when we wake up, that part in us, it's like respecting the love of our life, because one day we wake up. And we know that we wake up in the embodiment of God, and how we treat ourselves is how we treat God. And we wake up that everybody else is God too. So how we treat everybody else, is how we're treating God. So when we wake up this consciousness, you ask yourself this question: when did we lose ourselves? When did we lose ourselves? When did we lose our organic foods? When did we lose, we're not going against ourselves with our own word? When did we lose ourselves? It's when we begin to believe in lies. When we begin to believe that we're not perfect just the way we are, and we're perfect with the mistakes that we have done, that we're doing, and that we will do. That's why an artist always learns from his experiences, and this is what a Toltec it is. It learns from life. And my grandmother once told me before she passed away, she said, if I catch you doing what I did, you're killing the Toltec tradition. If I catch you doing what your father is doing, you're killing the Toltec tradition, because you have to learn from you. You have to learn how to overcome yourself, how you not to believe in life, because a true healer is the one that can heal himself from his own lives. And this is what, for me, a healer is. And it's a Toltec as well, because we Toltecs, we artists, are healing ourselves to take the inspiration continuously to grow and not let the inspiration be taken away. And the only one taking away this inspiration is ourselves. So that's why, especially the Toltec, it means an artist. And the artist of the spirit will always protect his spirit. And this is why everything we do is spiritual. So no one can tell us what we're doing is not spiritual, because everything we do is spirit in action. But when you have a purpose, a focus, an intent, or we can say a prophecy, that you're ready to fulfill, nothing's going to break your word, because your word is powerful. And when you know that your word is powerful, it's because you have respect in your word, because you have respect in yourself, you have respect in you, the artist. And this is what we're here to do, like the Inca said. We're here to be like the Father, Son, and shine our light. And this is what we're doing all the time. when we love to do what we do, that is a spiritual experience, like having a radio interview or like going to a baseball field or to, sharing what is in our heart, that feels so beautiful that we feel alive. And the more that we feel alive is because we're creating beautiful memories, and the more beautiful memories we create, one day we will rethink about them and will make us smile. So just be aware when we open our heart, we are the artists, we are the Toltec. And it's not about religion, because this empowers our religion as well, because we see where there's superstition, where there's fanatism, where there's greed, and we clean up. That's why I love the story when Jesus goes back to the temple and said, this temple is, is corrupted. I will tear it down, and I will rebuild it in 3 days. So we're not in a hurry to rebuild it in 3 days, because just by having awareness, we're already rebuilding it.
Yes, we are. Well, gosh, I just love these messages you share. They're so aligned with everything we believe and share in Humanities Team, and just so many pearls of wisdom here, Don Jose. I love you said that when we wake up, we see that how we treat ourselves is how we treat God, how we treat others is how we treat God. That, of course, because there's one presence, that there is just the divine. So really coming into this place of living as one, where we're seeing ourselves and others as faces of the divine. But you're not leaving it there as an abstract notion. You're getting into lots of specifics here, talking about your process with your teaching for how you create this reality, and it's truly beautiful. Let me bring in a question from Michael in Palm Springs. Michael asks, how do we discover the purpose of our divine contract?
It's when we make an agreement with ourselves. Like, let's say if we have, if we're overeating, and we know that we're overeating and hurting our body, we can run, or our liver becomes fat, or we have all these problems in our stomach. So right there we have an awareness. We have to do a change. In this moment we have an agreement to make a contract with ourselves to say, okay, I will dedicate my time, I will leave this kind of life behind, and I will dedicate my will to make a change. So in this calling, you have a calling to take care of your body, your physical body. And, day by day you work on it. Day by day you work on it. Then in a year passed by, your liver is fine, your stomach is fine, because you put that intent and magic right there. So it could be in anything, in anything that's taking our inspiration away. And sometimes, we like to go around the block. We know exactly what we need to pin down, but we face other things because they're easy, because we don't want to place, what's real. But, we humbly say it to ourselves, And like I said earlier, once you wake up, your consciousness, I'm not sorry to say this, you cannot put yourself back to sleep. You cannot pretend that you're not, were made to fulfill this contract, because you're here to support the love of your life. And the love of your life is yourself. That's why whenever you feel you're off center, that's when you make a contract with yourself and get yourself back in center. But like I said earlier, like for me, I know the meaning of my life. I know what makes me happy and what makes me happy, because I am me. Like Michael, you are you. And the moment that you make a contract, you stick with the plan to serve you. It's not to become fanatic or obsessed. No, it's that you're doing it to the better of you. Because I remember this interview that my brother shares in his lectures. It's Oprah Winfrey with Robert Downey Jr. And Oprah Winfrey asked Robert Downey Jr., how difficult was it to leave your addictions? And he said, oh, they were very easy, And Oprah said, how can you say that they were very easy when you went to like more than 20 different rehabs or something like that? He said, you know what? All those different times I went for somebody else out of guilt or something, But when I went for myself, it was easy. And this is exactly the feeling that I'm saying right now. When you have a contract in your life, when you have a fulfillment that you have to know, that you're doing it for you. And when you're doing it for you, you're doing it for your loved ones. So it always comes a point in our life when we have to stand up and we know what's going on. That's why I love to say, once you wake up, you can't put yourself back to sleep. You can be in ghost town pretending that you don't know what to do or you have to do. You can call somebody a master or a teacher saying, what should I do? But you know exactly what to do. And it's the moment that we hit the temple of respect, because, from this point on, we're learning to listen from the heart.
Yes, let me, gosh, I'd love to go down a little deeper on this one, Don Jose, because I'm guessing that just with this time of turmoil in today's world, political turmoil, economic turmoil, there's so many health challenges that are related to this, stress, anxiety, depression, and more. What So if somebody were saying, wow, that speaks to me, I'd like to make a contract with myself, I'd like to really heal this, can you go a little deeper in this process? What would you suggest to somebody who's saying, I'm ready, want to make a contract? How might they move forward in the next week and the next month?
We'll know that we're storytellers first. And if we don't like our story that we're telling, what should we do? Then change the story. And it will become a habit, because we have a habit all the time, and we become slaves to that habit, so we become a habit of doing negativity. But when we stick to the plan, it's like having an out-of-body experience. But I don't mean the one that, that we wake up in the morning, because I remember I was 11 years old, and I had an out-of-body experience. I wake up, and I look at myself floating, and I see my body. I don't mean that one, because that didn't help me at all in my life, not at all. The real out-of-body experience that I really have, and I'm talking about, is to see an automatic reactions. To see ourselves from a personal point of view, to see our reactions, to see what takes our heaven away, to see what we take personally, because when we see it, we know about it. And when we know about it, we train ourselves to not give power to it. And when we don't get power to it, it will not overcome us anymore. So in that moment, we change the story that used to affect us. Like they say in the storyteller that we say to ourselves, somebody will say negative things, and we said, oh, this is a juicy one to hurt ourselves. And we hurt ourselves with it. No longer. Because first of all, we know that we are addicted to suffering. And the addiction of suffering is what maintains us in an island of safety. And in that safety is where we live in a pain that we're used to. Having awareness that we wake up in this pain that we're used to, saying, okay, I'm ready to leave this world behind, because I don't want to be afraid of the unknown anymore. And this is what we're afraid of the unknown. When we're in an abusive relationship, we want to leave it. We leave it for like 2 days, and we want to come back because we're afraid of the unknown, that we prefer to stay in a hell that we know better than something that we do not know, because we don't know how to detach. And this was something that my grandmother really taught me. Said, we're doing it all in life, my son. The message is in life. And I go, what do you mean, Grandma? We attach and we detach. And sometimes we attach and we suffocate. I go, what do you mean, Grandma? Okay, one example is your breath. Like, take a breath, she said, and I took a breath. Now, let it go, she said, I let it go. Now, do it again, and let it go, I let it go. And then, okay, hold it, hold the breath, attach to that breath. What's going to happen? It's going to suffocate you. And exactly with stories. And knowing the stories suffocate us is because we attach to them, we don't let them go. And this is a training of the Toltec that it teaches us in dreaming. And in dreaming, we learn how to become dream masters. And it's not necessary to become dream masters that I can control somebody else in the dreams. No, that's superstition. No, the only dream that we can control and change is our own dream. So when we know that our dream, our life, our story is corrupted, then we do everything in our power to change our story, to change our story. And it can be changed, but when we're in the moment, it feels so painful that it feels like we cannot change it because we're so attached to it. So just think of the path that we let go before. We let go about being in kindergarten. We let go of being in the first to sixth grade of school, the junior high, the high schools, the first relationships, Even at one point when we used to be carnivores, eat a lot of meat, and then like 20 years later, you don't eat nothing meat, you let that go as your consciousness grows and grows and grows, We let go of things that we grow and grow and grow because we make an agreement with ourselves because we know, for better or worse, if that is going to make poison for us, it's going to be poison for the body. And it's like an alcoholic, that wakes up one day and says, you know what, this alcohol is poisoning me, and I don't want to poison me anymore because, I don't want to lose any more friends. I don't want to say things that I don't want to say, because what it used to be fun is not fun anymore because it's consuming me, so I have to do everything in my power. Yes, we had good times, but now, it lead me to bad times, and now I know what's best for me. So we all know what's best for us because we have addiction for suffering because in one way or another we use something to hurt ourselves with, and we're so intelligent that we justify or create any justification, any excuse to not confront the truth that we're feeling. And this is when we go against ourselves. This is when we're not impeccable with our words. This is what I mean right now. When you wake up and have respect for yourself, that's it. And when you have the discipline and apply it, that's it. And someone, my friend says, Jose, can you just clap your fingers, do Shakti Pat, put something in my head, to make it go away? I can do that and make you pretend, I say. But you're the one who's going to confront this every day that you have a thought. every day you think that you cannot do it, that you're not perfect enough, that you're not loved. You have to overcome who? Yourself, because when you overcome yourself, you overcome your own tyrant. And when you become over your tyrant, it's because finally you make peace. And this is where we come from, to make peace, to really learn forgiveness, that we can forgive somebody who's going to go against us in 1 year. We can forgive them now. And one of my friends says, I cannot forgive what's going to happen in 1 year because I don't know what I'm forgiving. And say, if you understand the addiction of suffering, you will, because it's not about the story, it's about the action. We hurt ourselves with emotions. But when you wake up, you will not hurt yourself with your own storytelling because you have respect for yourself, because you know that you have full love for yourself. And with that unconditional love is respect, honesty, and the discipline to change your dream, because no one's going to change it for us. It would be so beautiful, because we have the little ones, our loved ones, our kids, that we would like to change it for them, but we can't. You can see a grandparent trying to change, the 30-year-old, 40-year-old son's mind, but he can't because they made a decision. So we have a decision. At one point we were little, but at one point we wake up and we have awareness and we cannot put ourselves back to sleep. So with this responsibility, we're ready to change the world by changing our own world. And there are no excuses. There are no justifications. It's just the acts that we do. That's why I love the President Abraham Lincoln's message that he said that I only got one religion and one religion only. If I do good, I feel good. And if I do bad, I feel bad. And it's like the Inca one told me that there was the master at top of the mountain, and then an apprentice came in with 2 pumas, and he said to the master, Master, I have 2 pumas. One represents negativity, one represents positivity. Master, which one will win? And the master responded, whichever one you feed. And it's exactly what we're doing in our life. When you are aware of what you're feeding upon, and you're feeding negativity, and you wake up one day and say, okay, that's it. I fed in negativity enough. I will change my dream, because this is the point that I'm coming to. We speak 2 languages in this world, negativity or positivity. When we speak with negativity, our world is negative. When we speak with positivity, our world is positive. And when the problems come in, we handle them with positivity instead of being paralyzed with negativity. And that's when we become the Nagual or the shaman or the human that represents the divine, because this is what we are, angels. And angel means messengers. That's why I repeat this in the 5th agreement. What kind of messengers are we? What is the message that we give to ourselves and to the people we say we love with all our heart? So if you don't like your message, then change it. But if you like it, continue. But if you don't like it, you can change it, because, this is what you're here in life to do. You're an artist, and you're here to share your art with no excuses. And everything is perfect because everything feeds off each other.
Yeah, wonderful wisdom, Don Jose. Wow, I would love for all children growing up to understand this message, and for that matter, adults. I just think of the area of psychology and sociology and therapy and so on. And wow, I would love for this to be the message that is shared, because to me, this is the universal wisdom and the way that you and your father and your family just share this, and also the way that you live it, because of course that's the key in your family. You live it, your dad lives it, your brother lives it, and it's very powerful. I love everything you're sharing. Let me bring in a comment here. Julian in Palm Springs just says, absolutely love this. Thank you so much from every inch of my heart. Really needed to hear this the way it's being placed here. So thanks, Julian. I'm guessing you're speaking for others as well. There maybe is time for one more question if somebody wants to bring one in. Again, this is a live program. We've got a large listening audience here today. Don Jose, let me go over to one of the projects that I know is important for you. It's called The Universe Is Now. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, one of these beautiful things is that we all are a universe, and the universe is like a magician's hat, When the magician pulls the hand inside the hat, you never know what's going to come out of it. So the message of the universe of now is for everyone to speak their art, to not be quiet, to speak their own tradition, to speak their own love. And a beautiful homework that I like to share is that getting a recording device and push record and speak from the heart, Some people say that they channel Moses, they channel Abraham, they channel many different people, That is beautiful. But imagine the beauty of channeling your own heart, your own experiences, your own wisdom, And the moment that you push record, you begin speaking, you know, not thinking, just speaking like a waterfall. And then you push stop, and then you listen to you. And then you listen to a different one. And then whenever you're feeling off the center, you know, you get off the center, you're feeling unhappy, is to get that recording device. Press play and listen to the real you. Because who else can get you out of hell, out of suffering than you? So when you know that you're creating beauty, you know, that is what you are made for. Heaven doesn't need heaven. Who needs heaven is hell, and wherever you go, you will take heaven with you. This is what is about the universe of now. It's about a beautiful point of the artist sharing their beauty, sharing their heart, and we have different people to share their wisdom in this website, in the universe of now. And from this point on, I think we're going to take it to a step further because, you know, the art just begins to expand and expand and expand. But this is the beautiful time that we live by now, living in this universe, is to be really awakened, to see what gifts do we have and what good is it for us, like I repeat, to keep it in a closet. You know, we have to get it out there. And beautiful thing is that, you know, the internet exists. So the more positivity that we put out there is going to be reached to many different people. And this is a beautiful thing about what's happening now. Our positivity can spread over the world so fast, just like negativity can. But when we make a decision, this is what my fiance says, you know, that it comes a point that we know that we're living in a body and that we, humanity, we kind of like bacteria, you know, and there's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria hurting the body, and there's good bacteria, you know, supporting the body. So when our mind begins to shift, you know, we're like that good bacteria, seeing, you know, where the mistakes were, you know, where the negativity was, where we can put some healing. And this is what it's all about, you know, in storytelling, in our experiences, because I see that's the future of spirituality, that everybody is a divine master. Everybody sees each other as a divine master, of a guru or master, whatever you want to name it, because we are living in the mastery of friendship now. Because I am very sure that one day, you know, I'm going to fall, you know, and I will not doubt that any one of the listeners, you, my friend, that are going to extend your hand and pick me right up. And, you know, you will pick me right up, you know, and we will do that for another. Just imagine the powerful gift that is listening to your own voice. And then you begin living this way. You no longer have to channel anybody else because you channel your own heart because it's free to be you. And it's exactly like the little bird, you know, that sings outside. Imagine a bird outside. Do you think it's thinking, I hope I'm in the right key, I hope I'm in tune, I hope they like me in that room? No. It's just being a bird singing what it was meant to sing, a beautiful song. And here's exactly what we need to do too, to let our heart completely open like a rose fragrance. And this is what the universe of now is all about, that we're here to create our beauty and share our love now.
Wow, I love that, Don Jose. What is the website people can go to if they want to be a part of that project?
Yes, you can have theuniverseofnow.com, and you can also see in Facebook, on the Universe of Now in Facebook, and there you can see the art from different friends and messages and paintings.
Okay, beautiful. Theuniverseofnow.com, and also on Facebook, The Universe of Now. Awesome. So let me, there's another question that I want to get to here, but let me just mention something. We have two programs today, very rare, and right when this program ends in 12 minutes, there's a free webinar that's starting with Ken Wilber, myself, and John Thomas, and it's all about this new standard for business in the 21st century, where business moves beyond a focus exclusively on profit to really redefining profit and redefining prosperity, so that businesses are doing what we're talking about here right now, just being generators of positivity in communities, of things that nurture humanity and nurture life. So want to invite you to participate in that. If you may have links in your email, if not, you can go to the Humanities Team website. You'll see Conscious Business up top. You can pull it down. It says free webinar. Click on that, and in free webinar, you can click on this this free webinar with Ken Wilber that starts in 11 minutes. That's going to be just a great program if you're interested in oneness in business at all, or how we can shift business to become a positive force for change. You'll want to check that out. Here's a question that came in. It says, when your father had his heart transplant, did he notice any energy that was different from his precious own heart If so, what was it?
Well, one of the beautiful things that I learned from him when he was sharing, it was kind of like the energy within the intent of serving. And he said when he came out of this operation, he was asked, if he was okay if they studied his heart, because they wanted to see how he survived like 8 or 9 years with a 15 or 16% of his heart capacity, traveling all over the Americas. And he said, don't waste your time, doctors. That heart is dead. You want to know the real reason that I kept being alive is because of the will. My body served my mind all my life. Now it's time for my mind to serve my body, and it's because of the will. So he said also when he was in coma that when something that pushed out of his body was the will, and it was the intent, it was perception. That's what we really are. And this is one of the beautiful things that he teach me is to really meditate with the eyes open. Because one time when I came back from India in my young years of meditating, I was meditating over 8 hours a day, and he came one day knocking on my door. He says, Jose, what are you doing? I said, I'm transcending, I'm meditating. And he goes, no, you're abusing meditation. That's what you're doing. I go, what do you mean, Father? It's because you are preferring to stay hiding in this room for 8 hours instead of, being out in life. Now your next assignment as your teacher that I'm going to give to you is to meditate with the eyes open. And he sent me out to meditate with his eyes open, to do the groceries, to talk to people, but always find that same space, So when he came back from the heart transplant, and I was looking into his eyes, I knew he was living in that place all the time. But from that point on, I could totally see the gift, that he was sharing with all of us, is to live in that place all the time, to meditate with eyes open, to have our completely heart, and to not let the stories separate us as humanity, but unite us as one humanity, to accept all the gardens and all the messages from everybody that exists, because all the messages that exist are here to change the world. And especially when we get together as a unity of brothership and sistership, as a family. This is the moment that we wake up and we know that we're one living organ, because that's what he woke up saying when he came back from his transplant. Said, we're all one, and there's no doubt even now that we all are one. We're all one living being. And the moment that we stop separating each other from the stories and get to the direct symbol that is in our heart, we will live in one. That's why I imagine one time that if they get 2 great masters of the world, and they do a pay-per-view, they want to see what they're going to talk about. They're going to put them into the table, and they're just going to see into each other's eyes, nod their heads, and smile and not say anything, because there's nothing to say, because it's to be in that presence. And that's when we really know that the words, the language, that cannot be the truth. 3,000 years, 4,000 years of language cannot be the truth. But the truth really, it is what we feel within, It's like the seed is the truth, the seed of life. And from this point on, we can totally now know with awareness where we can go with that direction of life. And we can always say, thank you, with heart that was given to us, because that is life itself, The gift of our birthright, is to enjoy this gift. And that's life itself. That's the message that I received from my father from his transplanted heart attack.
Wow, that's stunning. Don Jose, you're again, we're starting to break up just a little bit, so most of the time you're coming through loud and clear. Just wanted to mention that. Again, I just appreciate so much the wisdom that you're sharing, Don Jose, about your life and your dad's life, your family's life. If anybody has met this family, Don Miguel, Don Jose, I haven't met you in person. I've been with your dad a couple of times, and wow, you really are feeling into somebody's energy who's just in this place of total surrender and freedom. It's amazing, and certainly I hear that in your voice, Don Jose. We only have 6 minutes left, and there's some things, coming programs I want to share on the back end, but is there any chance, with just a minute or two, anything experiential you want to do, just breathing or anything, because you're describing during this call these processes that we can do, meditating awake, and really living in this place of freedom, of surrender, of integrity, of inspiration. Is there anything that you'd like to do or say about that, and also a web address that people can go to follow your work?
Just to know that life, to make a massive with our life. So every day.
Oh, Don Jose, I'm sorry, you're breaking up again a little bit.
Yes. First, make our life a masterpiece of art. So when we wake up in our school place, in our workplace, wherever we're at, and there's
I'm sorry, you're breaking up again. It's been pretty clear the whole hour, but just getting some. People are going to have trouble hearing you right now.
Hello?
Don Jose? Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, couldn't hear you until right now.
Oh, yes. Yes, I say we're here to make a masterpiece of art with our life and know that everywhere we go, we're meant to spread our heart and share with us. So this Christmas is coming soon. And instead of giving our loved ones material things, we can give them material things, but let's give them something they don't even know that we're giving to them. Let's give them our real self, our real presence, our positivity, our presence. And like any prophet will say, I can prophesize from here to this point that anything that we have to tackle, everything that we want to leave behind, make an act of power right now and make an agreement of love, because with that agreement of love, we will change our world. And by changing our world, this is the gift that we will give to our loved ones this Christmas coming.
All right, beautiful. And Don Jose, how can people follow your work? Where do you suggest they go?
Well, you can follow our work on my father's website, miguelruiz.com. And also, you can see us in Facebook, that my family, my brother, and my dad. And you can see everything that we're doing. And it's been very beautiful to be able to share with them. And we're going to be being in Mexico at the end of the year. And it's going to be very fun. We're going to be celebrating the pyramids of Mexico. And you can see miguelruiz.com calendar.
Fantastic. And so that website, one more time, was MiguelRuiz.com?
Yes, it's MiguelRuiz.com without the Don, just MiguelRuiz.com.
MiguelRuiz.com. Fantastic. Well, wow, Don Jose, let me share. What an amazing hour. Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much. The wisdom and the passion and the inspiration and the personal experience and it's just been really fantastic. And thank you so much. Just really grateful to have you on the program. Look forward to having you and your father back here again soon. Let me just go over some announcements here real quick. The Humanities team, the Club of Budapest based out of Europe, the Goy Peace Foundation based out of Japan, and the Fowler Center for Business out of Case Western Reserve University earlier this year created a conscious business declaration that defines this whole new standard for business in the 21st century. It shares we must increase economic prosperity while contributing to a healthy environment and improving human well-being. We move beyond this almost exclusive focus on profit toward the health and well-being that we're talking about on this program here today. So these four NGOs came together to do was to say that we need to create function where there's dysfunction. There, of course, are many emerging businesses that are conscious, but this declaration says every business that operates on this planet should operate from this place of consciousness, from health and well-being, nurturing humanity, the earth. So I invite you to go to consciousbusinessdeclaration.org to read that declaration, and if you resonate with it, to sign it and become an ambassador for it. Also, as I mentioned, there are some free conscious business webinars that are starting today. In fact, the first one starts in 2 minutes. It's with Ken Wilber, and again, you can go to the Living in Oneness site or Humanities Team site, pull down the free webinar up where it says Conscious Business at the top to register for that. Then the other webinars that are coming, there's a second one with Elizabeth Sarita. She's the biologist based out of Hawaii. That's on next Tuesday, the 6th of September, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Then there's a third one with the Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. A week from today, Thursday, the 8th of September, also at 9 Pacific time. A fourth one with Alan Watkins is Saturday, September 10th at 9 a.m. Pacific. Then a fifth one with Andrew Harvey on Thursday, September 13th at 12 Pacific time. And then a sixth grand finale that is going to bring in a bunch of them: Ken Wilber, Elizabeth Sarita, Alan Watkins, John Thomas, and myself will be on this one. It's Thursday, September 15th at 12 Pacific time. Do join us. You can, again, register for all these free webinars by going to the Humanities Team website or the Living in Oneness site. We have some upcoming programs also that you don't want to miss. Be sure to join us next week on Thursday, September 8th. We'll be interviewing Kinley Neum Hai. He's a close associate of Thich Nhat Hanh. That call is at 8 a.m. Pacific time, an hour earlier than normal. This is going to be a big day because, again, right when that call ends at 9 a.m., John Thomas and I will be doing this Conscious Business webinar with the Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith. So we've got two programs back-to-back on Thursday next week. Of course, for this Living in Oneness Summit, all of our programs are free. If you miss the program, we send out a little thank you note with a link to the recording so you can listen for free for 48 hours. I also want to mention Global Oneness Day is right around the corner. It's our Earth Day for an Awakened Humanity. It's this 12-hour program. It's always on October 24th. That's a Monday this year. If you go to globalonenesssummit.org, again, globalonenesssummit.org, you can read about Global Oneness Day and you can register. The program's free, the entire 12-hour program, and we do send out links so you can listen in for free after if you miss some of the program. This program is focused on living in oneness, so I want to invite you to be part of the Humanities Team Community Circle. It's only $10 a month. It's for those who wish to be part of an intentional community committed to living and embodying oneness, those who want to collaborate and connect with leaders engaged in spiritual activism, a community that gives and receives support, and a program that gives you free access to all of our audio links from the Living in Oneness Summit, Global Oneness Day, and more. There are over 350 programs you and your family can listen to anytime, anywhere. If you go to humanitiesteam.org and just scroll down, there's a rectangle that says Community Circle. You can learn more about it there. And again, that's only $10 a month. So I want to come back and just say thank you again to Don Jose Ruiz for just an amazing hour. Thank you, Don Jose. Want to also thank my colleagues here, Nanette Kennedy and Dee Meyer, who are these angels that create this program. They're running the back end, bringing in the questions from you. And then last, definitely not least, I want to thank each of you, the listeners, who have made it a priority to be here with us for the program today. And in closing, I want to invite everyone on this call to really live as one with the divine and each other. This is ultimate reality, and this is one of the best ways to spread the invitation of oneness, and it's how we'll create the world we've all dreamed about and envisioned, that we really have made the subject of this hour-long call. As we know, we already are all one, so let's embody this. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in a few minutes on this free Conscious Business webinar with Ken Wilber. And again, you can go to the Living in Oneness Summit site or the Humanities Team site to sign up for that. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.